Welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a look at the F-104S in the Italian tech tree, if it's worth it, if you should take it out, and of course the loadouts that you might want to bring. This thing is 10.7 and it's the exact same version as the one you find right here at a lower rank, because you know Gaijin likes to make money and it needs to sell you a rank 7. They can't of course sell you another rank 6 because you probably, well, won't need it. The F-104S is a very boring plane, but it's pretty damn effective. You do have a pretty good loadout here. You can bring out a plethora of different things. If you are into bombing, it can do that quite effectively because it's pretty damn fast. It accelerates very well, but that's of course not what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be taking it out for air-to-air duty, as we do with everything on the channel. We are going to take out 6 AIM-9Js as well as the Vulcan. Now what you can do is bring out some S-Spies, S-Speeders, AIM-7Es in this case. And you can of course carry some more AIM-9Ps with them. The AIM-9Ps are copy-paste of the AIM-9J. So they are not the best, but a 10.7 with a decently forgiving matchmaker, it's actually pretty okay. The issue is this right here. You cannot bring the Vulcan together with the radar missiles. And this makes it a little bit of a toss-up, because you are a bit of a tosser if you fly around without a gun. Now there are some people that have been saying, take out the AIM-7Es and you can use them in the first engagement, shoot them off, and then land, rearm, get AIM-9Js on the plane, get the Vulcan out, and then you can do the late game carry with your gun as well as 6 AIM-9Ps. The issue is, by the time you are RTB, the game is basically over, so I don't really recommend it. I run the armored target belt. If it's like a few 11.0s and the rest is like 10.7 and lower, I will still run standard. If it's heavy 11.0, so like more than half, and you get up tiered further to 11.3 as well as 11.7, I will run mixed. I still would like to see custom countermeasures, because right now with mixed, half the time when you drop countermeasures, unless you're being shot at by a radar and an IR missile at the same time, you're just wasting countermeasures. So I would like to see something like in tanks, where you have to like 2 sliders, and you can just allocate how many flares and chaff you want. And you get a total of 60 countermeasures. You can say, okay, I want 40, maybe 50 flares, or 10, maybe 20 chaff. That would be a lot more useful. But you know, I can bitch about that all day long. It's probably not going to accomplish anything. One more thing, do I think it's worth it? Well, the thing is with the Italian tech tree, I don't think that you really need this, because there's really not much here to grind out, at least at the higher tiers. Sure, the F-16 here is probably the most accessible F-16 that you will find in the game. Why? Because it's such a short tech tree. It's a very quick and easy grind, so if you only care about the F-16, you can get it right here. Otherwise, I would say don't, but I think rushing to top tier is a bad idea anyways, because you're gonna miss out on a lot of basic skills that you will pick up by flying props, lower tiers in general, and just progressing through the game. But that's a topic for another time. Do what you want, it's your money. Before we get started today, thank you to all my YouTube members and my patrons and everyone looking to get this decal right here to put all over your vehicle. You can do it with the discount code down below. And it's in here. You get a discount, I get a cut, and you get a decal. Everybody wins. But without it... And with this thing, because you have so much acceleration and top speed, you can just rush straight in. And I like to go in a little bit higher than normal, so that most of the enemies just kind of pass below me. I'm not side climbing at all. I literally take off, put it into like a 40-degree climb, and I'm gone. Now right now I'm not really looking forward to getting missiled by the MiG-21, and I think it's a MiG-21S, and if he has a radar missile, I'm gonna have a bit of an issue dodging it in head-on, so I'm just gonna put my nose down, shoot the missile off, and I'm going to get my first kill as I'm looking at the guy behind me. And if the MiG-21 tries to chase me down, he will rip his wings off, because I'm simply much quicker than him. I also maintain my speed much better than him, so I get a very quick and easy kill. I orbital strike, and then I just transition back to deck gameplay. Sometimes you'll get more than one kill, sometimes you get nothing, but I find it a very reliable way to open. And the second you see stuff going down, you can simply disengage, and you're gonna have a pretty easy time with it. The main gripe that I have with this vehicle is that you're forced to play it very defensively. You do not have the capability to start reversing people. We will do it today, but in general, I wouldn't really advise this. Now, there are some vehicles that you will run into, like the F-14, that will simply run you down, and you really have no other option than try to reverse them. He's gonna catch you, your speed doesn't mean much, and he's gonna just put you on the defensive constantly with his plethora of missiles. So you want to be very careful, and you need to fly this thing very carefully as well. And you can be very aggressive with it, in the sense that you can push into fights and you can know for certain that you're gonna have a pretty easy time leaving the fight right afterwards. The issue is with getting people on your 6. The second you get people on your 6, if they are relatively fast, or basically as fast as you are, they are going to be cancelling you for the rest of the match if they decide to chase you. They won't get a kill out of it. They are just wasting their time, but they're also wasting your time. So be advised, when people try to lock you down, you are essentially useless for the rest of the match. And as we shoot 2 missiles, the A10 kinda, I wouldn't say steal, but he kinda like yoinks both the kills in front of my nose. I almost smelled the double, but we are not going to be getting it today. The nice thing about it is the acceleration, retention, and just the top speed that you have to kind of zip around the map and start contesting other people in different spots on the map. So you are really just dependent on how the match develops, and then you just kind of decide where you want to be. You are going to be quick enough to simply disengage and go somewhere else. If they don't have flares, you can come in and kill like 2 or 3 guys, just like with those J35s that I unfortunately didn't get the kill on myself. But that's the main playstyle I'm trying to put some emphasis on here, that you just want to kind of zip around the map. And for the most part, as long as you flare the missiles being shot your way, just kind of focus on what's in front of you. 95% of the things that you run into on a consistent basis are not going to be touching you from behind. Not like your uncle did a few years ago. You don't have to worry about it. Just keep flying straight. That's kind of all you can do in this thing. The only issue is the Vulcan, and it's not so much the gun itself. The Vulcan is fantastic. The main issue is that you don't turn very well. So getting shots off on people that are actually paying attention, if they're not considerably slower than you, is actually pretty annoying. What I tried to do there was I tried to kill the 2 guys that were on top, but my teammate actually pulled into a little bit of a head-on, and now I'm forced to deal with the F4F that's on my 6. And I don't really have the speed difference here to run away from this guy and disengage. He's locking me down, I'm in the corner of the map, and if I want to play this safe, I can go faster, make this super slow turn across the map, and then eventually outrun him. But by that time, the tickets are gonna be gone, and the game is going to be over. So what do? Something that you sometimes actually have to do. So we full on air brake, we go on over his nose, we pull back in, and he's much faster than us, so even though that he turns much better, he's gonna end up in front of us. Now what he should have done here was not pull back into my guns. Unfortunately for him, that's exactly what he does. So we pull into the shot, we get some hits in, he gets crit, and all we have to do now is simply finish the job. F4F reversed, kill number 4, and we're not going to get anything else out of that match because the A10s are gonna clean up the rest of that game. A little bit unfortunate. If it had gone a little bit better our way, if a few of those A10s were in there, then I would have gotten a lot more kills, but hey, you can't win them all. Right now, exact same deal. We climb straight in, we get in the enemy backline by simply flying straight in, and then we lock up the Milan, which doesn't have countermeasures. At this altitude, he is just fucking dead. It really doesn't matter what he does. 2 kills down, go ahead on with the J35 XS, shoot some rounds, straight up miss. I could have very easily killed him right there, but hey, simply a skill issue. So we have 2 kills already, and now we want to transition to the deck again. I don't want to be too high for too long. It makes you very vulnerable, and if people start looking at you and you start getting aim 9L'd from below, for example, and if your team isn't spotting in that direction, it's very easy to miss a missile coming from below. And the higher you are, or like more, not like the higher, but like if you are between like 4 and 8 kilometers, you can be missiled from 360 degrees by some vehicles, and you don't want that. I rather try to stay a bit lower so that everyone is spotted, and then the only blind spot that I really have is directly above me. While if I stay a little bit higher, then I have a second blind spot directly below me. So it makes it a lot more intensive to keep looking around. But again, playstyles differ. Some people just prefer something else. And just the exact same deal here. The F-104S is a very boring plane to fly, because you are just very limited. You fly this thing like a train. It's very fast and it kind of bulldozes over people. But man, it's very still to play just because of how limited the airframe is. If you get up-tiered, it's of course a different story, because then you need to really work your balls off to get something done. I haven't been really up-tiered in this thing very often. The matchmaker has been very kind to me in this thing. But we all know that an F-104, and I will show you with the F-104G very soon here, in top tier matches against Tomcats, MLDs, that stuff, how painful it really is. But today I didn't really get many clips where we had to face those vehicles, so I can't really show you either. But I think we all know just how much of an L it really is to fight 11 trees with starfighters. But that's again a topic for another time. So we have a Harrier in front of us, we try to get the head-on in, we miss our shots, really no big of a deal, but we still have 3 missiles left. And initially I thought it was going to be a GR1, so you get a very free kill. But he's not pre-flaring or anything, he's not really... I don't know what he's doing. He gave me this impression that he was not gonna flare it. He might have been out, he might have not unlocked him yet, I don't know what is going on, but... he didn't flare it. And he ended up taking a bit of a dirt nap, so that's Harrier down. And now we just want to continue towards the middle of the map. Now there is a third guy somewhere, and we don't exactly know where he is. But in a second here you start noticing that I get an RWR ping on my left. There we go, he starts locking us as well. And I just see the Mirage, but we're going much faster than him. And I don't care what missile that is. I don't really have to worry about it. I can either flare it if it's an IR, but it's a radar missile, so I just kind of go to the deck. Boom, it explodes, it instantly loses track. And again, I can just look in front of me and not worry about the thing that is riding my ass right now. I see 2 guys in front of us, and I am pretty confident that the J25XS, considering how he has been playing this game, is out of flares. But the MiG-21 above us is also probably not going to have flares. I'm not exactly sure what MiG-21 it is, but it doesn't matter because he comes in for the head-on. I can already sense it. I throttle drop a little bit because I maintain supersonic, and that makes it very hard to aim. So I missed the shot. It's an MF, so he does have flares and he does have a lot of missiles. So the missile might not have been able to kill him anyway, but he gets taken down. I crit the J25XS, and he's crit now. I don't really have to worry about him. He's completely boned. You saw that I probably took his rudder off something. He has some pretty major damage. He's not looking very hot. He's already contested as well. We shoot a missile on the Mirage here, but you already see the A10 doing its thing. And another A10 is going to take that kill right from us in our face. We hit the missile about half a second after the A10 kills him. A little bit unfortunate. The J25XS then dies in a full commit head-on with someone else. But we still impacted the game enough, and we get a pretty easy win. And if you are wondering why I'm not showing you the result screen, it's because I have a test drive, and with the test drive I get a different reward than you do. Of course, when you buy it, you get the actual plane, you don't get a test drive, and you get the full rewards. But keep in mind, with the rank 7 premiums, and this goes for almost all of them, the SL multiplier is absolute trash, and for some reason lower than some rank 4 or 5 planes. Which is, I think, completely ridiculous. But you know, I can keep going on about it, but it doesn't really help anything, and all I do is just sound like a broken record. So we come in from behind, everyone is going for the bomb base, and I mean, prime target F-104 hours. Just kind of slide at those DMs from behind, just shoot some missiles off, and most of the guys are just so busy looking at the space bar, looking at the bombing point to make sure that they actually drop it in that 5-second window that they get to drop their bombs. It's very, very precise, and you need to make sure that you don't overshoot. So I completely understand that you just stop looking around. The MiG-21 then absolutely body slams his teammate, and he's going to be set on fire by the Su-25 himself, so I'm just going to let him burn up, and we go on towards the next target, in this case an A10. And going head on with an A10 really isn't that big of a deal. You just shoot, you pull out, you're not going to get any kills that way, and he's simply too slow to really react to it. He needs to dodge prematurely, basically. The issue with that is, if he dodges very early, then he just gives us a free shot. He's going to end up rolling, he's going to give us a full broadside shot, and all he does is give us, well, a very easy time shooting him down. So as an A10, you do want to be somewhat careful with kind of pulling out of the head-on. You kind of have to just full send it. You do have to maneuver a little bit. The issue is just you're so damn slow. It's very hard for you to actually survive the head-on. You're probably better off trying to full send it, trying to make sure that the enemy can't really get shots off on you. But it depends a little bit on the plane you're facing, as well as just the way that the enemy is flying. If the enemy is absolutely full sending it, and he is absolutely adamant about the fact that you need to die right then and there, you're probably better off just trying to kill him before he gets the shots off on you. Because in an A10, trying to dodge the head-on, if you're not going fast, and let's be honest, it's an A10, you're probably not going to be fast. You're not really going to be dodging the head-on, and you're simply going to accomplish nothing else but exploding in midair, which is quite a difficult feat if you ask some people, but it's definitely not on top of my bucket list. So So again, we go straight in. We look for some targets. F5C, basically AFK climbing. We just shoot a missile after him. He's not paying attention to wherever we were coming from. And we get a pretty easy pick off. We then turn back in. I'm not going to be going for that F6F. He's really not a big threat. I think about it for a second. You saw it there, but I decided to just not do it. It's really just not worth it. I'm coming in from behind. No one is really looking here. And because I always come from behind at the very early stages of the game, this is kind of the stage of the game where people don't really look here yet. So most of my kills are early game. To be honest, most of the games you actually saw here today in today's video. So I don't really have to emphasize that too much. Other than that, we're just gonna clean up this A10. There's really not much else to show you. It's an F-104. It's really not that difficult to explain. It's a very simple plane, but it's not a very easy plane to fly. But that's mainly just because of how limited this plane really is. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in a day or two when we will be covering the next vehicle.